Hey, I want to take a second today to go a little off topic here. This video is not going to be specifically about guns, although it is going to be very much about the Second Amendment and gun rights in this country. I want to take a moment to answer all the emails I've gotten lately about Brett Kavanaugh and his appointment to the Supreme Court, or his potential appointment to the Supreme Court. Been getting a lot of emails from people saying, we know you have supported him up till now. Do you still support him now that he's been accused of potentially raping someone? Well, I wanted to answer those questions today. I know it's going to be controversial. I know it's going to piss off a lot of people. It's going to lose me subs, going to lose me money. I'm okay with that. I just want to be honest. A lot of people think you do controversial stuff to gain subs and gain money. You lose in the long run, believe me, when you say something controversial. That's why most gun channels don't want to say anything political or controversial. But I like to be honest with my viewers, and I like to answer the questions they ask me. And I've received this question multiple times over the last few days. So I want to deal with Brett Kavanaugh and what he did. Now, I supported Brett Kavanaugh up till now because, and I'm dealing past tense here, I have supported him because he's a pro-constitutional judge who I believe will uphold the Second Amendment in its truest form. He believes in it as it was written, and I think he will uphold it as it was written. No infringement. That's why I want Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. Now, as far as the allegations of rape go, it's heinous. And I do believe he did it. A lot of people are going to say, how do you know he did it? Well, I believe he did it. All my experiences in life lead me to believe this woman. Everything she says seems accurate. She had the right proximity. She had the right personal relationships with him. She's had two people corroborate that she's repeated this story in the past. One person even corroborate that she mentioned Brett Kavanaugh by name. So I believe her story. Everything about her story checks out. I do not find it hard to believe that a drunken 17-year-old would try to force himself on a girl at a party either. Especially if that person is a certain archetype of person, a certain personality archetype. And let's face it, the same person that would feel such a sense of self-importance and self-entitlement that they would actually try to force themselves on another person, that's a certain psychological archetype, and that archetype is also very similar to the same type of person that would decide to become a judge or a politician, etc. So I don't find it hard to believe. It all makes sense. And people are like, but he denies it. Well, yeah, but I think people who commit crimes usually deny it. So I don't really put that much weight on the fact that he just denies it. So I do believe he did it. And I think it was heinous. And I'm not going to support him by saying boys will be boys, because I was a boy. I never tried to rape anybody, ever. Never forcefully tried to put my penis anywhere that it wasn't welcome. Well, anywhere that, any living thing that it wasn't welcome. So I don't support him at all. I don't defend what he did at all for that. I think, like I said, it was a disgusting act. In fact, most of the boys I've known my entire life have never tried to rape anyone. Most boys I knew were awkward around girls and spent all their time trying to curry favor with females, not trying to hold them down and force themselves on them. So that whole boys will be boys thing is garbage. It's assholes will be assholes is what they should say. Because I think that type of person who would do this is an asshole. Now, there's a big but coming here. Although I think it's disgusting, it was 35 years ago and he was a drunk 17-year-old. Should he be held accountable his entire life for something he did? Especially, it would be one thing if he's 19 now and they're looking at something he did when he was 17. But he's 53 years old. This was 35 years ago, and he has a huge history of public service, just actions in society, being a good parent, being a good a member of society, etc. We can look at that and see what kind of person he is now, not something he did when he was 17 years old. Holding a 50-year-old man responsible for what they did when they were 17 is just, it's unconscionable as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want to be held accountable for everything I did when I was young. I wouldn't want to be labeled a thief because I stole a candy bar when I was 7, or a vandal and a public menace because I did donuts in some guy's yard who I did not like in high school. I don't want to be held accountable for those kinds of things my entire life, and I shouldn't be. I am a firm believer of forgiveness and change. I believe if you truly forgive people, they can change. I believe that wholeheartedly. That's why I believe felons should get their rights back if they've served their time and they've shown contrition. So I have to say personally, because of my own personal beliefs, You can't hold him accountable as an adult for something he did when he was 17, when he's got a huge history of stuff counter to that. Now, a lot of people say, well, he's never been held accountable for it. Well, not everyone ever gets caught in their crimes. Hopefully, they still learn from them. And let me tell you, in this high school situation, if this got around, I bet you he paid a price back then. It might not have been a price where he went to jail, but he probably suffered for his actions. And I'm not saying that made it okay, but I'm just saying, don't worry about whether people get caught or not. Worry about who they are now, and worry about what kind of person they are now. And I think that's how he should be looked at as far as Supreme Court nominations go. But here's another big but. Where I'm involved, there's always a big but. I don't think he's the right man for the job now. Because I don't think he'll get appointed in time. I think he's got too much baggage. Because let's face it, like I said, most people have never tried to rape anyone, boy or not. So how hard would it be to find a judge that is a good conservative constitutionalist who's never raped anybody? Or better yet, one that isn't a political love child of the right-wing Republican movement that has been so vocal about things that piss off women like abortion. He has had a very right-wing Catholic Christian opinion of abortion for a very long time. He's been very vocal about it, and that's making it difficult with senators like Murkowski and Collins, and it's making it difficult with female voters. How hard would it be to find a good judge? This is an appointment to the Supreme Court, the most prestigious thing in this country, the most prestigious appointment you can get. We don't have to settle just because someone is politically connected. We can get the best judge. And we've got a good conservative base in power now. Choose a good conservative constitutionalist who will support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and so on, as they're written, not try to reinterpret them. They exist. I know a couple judges here locally that I'm friends with that are better choices than Kavanaugh now because they don't have the baggage. So I just don't think he can get confirmed now in time because of his own personal baggage and because of his political connections. There are a lot of judges out there that aren't that politically connected but are still good conservative constitutionalists. Nominate one of them. Dump Kavanaugh. He will not get appointed now before the elections. I just cannot see him getting appointed before the elections now. And if we wait till after the elections, we run the risk of having the Senate flip, losing him and getting someone else appointed that the Democrats choose. So I don't think it's worth the risk. I don't think we have to put this much effort into a flawed candidate when we could just dump him, find like I said, a true conservative constitutionalist that has no baggage that no one can object to, put him in front of the Senate next week, do the hearings. It should take a couple of days because there's not going to be a whole lot of baggage in his background, and then vote and get him on the court. And that way we've got a good pro-Second Amendment judge on the court when these bills or these lawsuits from California, Hawaii, etc. make their way to the Supreme Court. That's going to have a huge effect on gun rights in this country for a generation to come. And we need a good Second Amendment conservative constitutionalist judge on there, on the Supreme Court. So let's not be stubborn and stick to Kavanaugh because he's Trump's guy or he was Bush's guy or whatever. Dump him. There's too much baggage. Get someone else nominated today or tomorrow. You've got to have a list of good judges in this country. Get them nominated. Get them heard next week. There'll be no big controversies that can stall. This controversy stalled this. It's big enough to stall this. Even the president said, oh crap, this is so big, we have to stall this. Then dump him. Get somebody else, fast track it through, and let's get a pro-Second Amendment constitutionalist judge on the court that doesn't have all this baggage.